Yeah. Yeah, we're here in San Mateo at Draper University. It's a new building site for Tim Draper's company, and he's going to explain what it is. And then he's going to answer some questions for the Deanza students and basically the rest of the world about e-commerce and the sort of some of the riddles that need to be solved if you're going to do it. And there's a script that we've given him, a list of students' questions, and he's going to field those questions as quickly as he can and use his judgment calls on what he should be speaking about. So he's going to take over from here.
Great. Hi, I'm Tim Draper, and I've had 27 years in the venture capital business, and we funded a lot of e-commerce companies. But what we're doing here is we're starting a new school for entrepreneurs. So any of those of you who are potentially great entrepreneurs starting new businesses, and you want to take 8 weeks to sort of learn something about being an entrepreneur and challenge yourself, apply to Draper University. It's www.draperuniversity.com. So now you have asked me some great intelligent questions, and I'll try to get you some good responses. Why did you or your company choose to go into or utilize e-commerce? Well, we kind of fell into it because we didn't really, as venture capitalists, we didn't really participate in e-commerce except as investors and board members of e-commerce companies. And e-commerce has taken so many twists and turns along the way that we were fortunate to be investors in Hotmail, and it had a wonderful marketing tool to spread throughout the world. I came up with this idea to say, get your free email at Hotmail at the bottom of everybody's email, and it was a way of spreading something like a virus spreads. I send you your email, you send it to your friends, and eventually everyone has it. So it was a very clever marketing technique, and people have used those marketing techniques for years. You want me to start over?
No, that's
okay. For years now. So e-commerce is a great opportunity. Reaching the consumer is a great market. There are 7 billion of us on the planet. But if you start an e-commerce company, you need to make sure that you reach all those people in some way. And a great way to reach them is through some sort of a viral marketing where your customer becomes your salesperson. When did you open your business versus go online? Well, interestingly, when I started the venture capital business, that never really went online. We put up a website, but our goal there is just to identify those great entrepreneurs and help fund them. Here, though, we are making that determination at Draper University. We've started a school here, and we have a location in San Mateo. It is growing, and things are going quite well here. And once we get it down to a real science, then we're going to take it online. But not until we really get it down to a science. And so our decision to go online will be when we really nailed the model. We know exactly what we want to teach everyone and what they get out of it in the offline school before we go online. What is my educational background? I actually went away to high school. I went to Andover in prep school. Then I came back here and I went to Stanford and graduated in electrical engineering. That was a long time ago. Electrical engineering has changed a lot since then. And then I went back to Harvard Business School and got my MBA. And so that's my educational background. What marketplace do I serve? I serve a couple of marketplaces now because I still have my venture capital business, and it serves entrepreneurs. We serve entrepreneurs and we serve limited partners. Our limited partners are our investors. The venture capital business works like this. We go out and we raise money from wealthy people and from big institutions. And we put that into what's called a blind pool, and it's blind to the investors. And the reason it's blind is that those investors don't want any liability on anything that we do. So then we take that money and we invest it into a number, maybe 20 different startups, different little companies. And then those companies, about half of them go out of business, and a few of them just float around there. But one or two make 10 or 20 times on our money, and so that's all we need so that we can do it again. And so that's kind of what we do. At the school, with this school, Draper University, we are making it up as we go along. We try things, some work, some don't, and we reevaluate, and then we try something else. So that's what the marketplace I serve here at this school are entrepreneurs too, but we serve them in a different way. We train them and get them excited about what they're doing.
What's the goal here for them at Draper?
Well, Draper University of Heroes, the goal here is to take people who have a little bit of a spark, that really want to do something interesting with their life, and to really light that spark on fire. Who do you consider to be your direct and indirect competitors? My direct competitors in the venture capital world there are quite a few. There are 1,000, maybe 2,000 venture firms around the world, and we compete with all of them. We sort of we cooperate with them, but we compete with them. And the way we cooperate is we'll invest together with other venture capitalists, so we don't get too far extended on any one company. Like, you don't want to put as a venture capitalist, you want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Does anybody have a market share?
No one has a very large market share in venture capital. It is a business that is really very fragmented. So at some point, someone may be able to roll it all together and create a business that really is a high market share, the way the banks did, for instance. Banks used to be lots of little groups that did lending, and now there are most of the banks have big brands on them: Wells Fargo, Citibank, JP Morgan, that kind of thing. In the schooling world, our competitors are many. First of all, we've got Stanford and De Anza and Berkeley and many schools around here that are doing different things with students and encouraging them to learn different things in different ways. We think that we're somewhat unique in that we have things like survival training, and we teach something called future here, whereas a lot of other schools teach history. So we do have competitors, but we don't think that they do it exactly the same way we do. There are also some online schools that we will be in heated competition with once our online school gets up and running. Did your competition affect the development of your value proposition before initially starting the business? Interestingly, the answer to that is no. In either case, I was not cognizant of competition in either case. When I started the venture capital business, I was not thinking in terms of the competition. I was just thinking about how I was going to survive and thrive. And in starting the school, I was not thinking about competition in any school. I did think a little bit about the competition that has been created in the venture capital world from incubators angel investors. There's a change afoot in the venture capital world, and I thought that the school could be a real differentiator to the venture capital business. So these things do kind of come together. Somebody asked what special advantages does your firm bring to the marketplace. I think we are very innovative. We try a lot of interesting things, and we make a lot of mistakes. Was personalization or customization of your product something you wanted to emphasize as a business objective of the company? We try not to personalize and customize, but if you're creating a school, each student is very much personal, and the product really does have to be somewhat customized to them. And we're going to try to automate all of that, but when you're dealing with people, they are each very much individual and very hard to turn into a standard product. And in the venture capital business, that is very much a personal business. It's all one-to-one. It all has to do with how you bond and communicate with the entrepreneur that you're thinking of funding. Are there any unique business objectives that you felt important in building your site? Now here you're talking about a site, an e-commerce site. We have not built our site yet. We built a site for the venture capital business. And there are a few things that we're going to play around with when we build the site for the school. And we haven't nailed them all down, but we definitely want to make sure it is very unique, frictionless. And that, I think, if I gave you one piece of advice on e-commerce, it is to make it frictionless. Steve Jobs, when he came up with the first iPod, he said every time an engineer came to him with a new product, he said, I just want one button. One button, that was it. And what he was really telling them is, I want the customer to be able to use this product by just pushing one button. If you can get whatever it is you're doing down to 0 buttons, that's even better. But you do not, your average customer is not an engineer, does not want to filter through a lot of things. They don't want to fill out forms. They don't want to have to do a lot of things. So make it so that your customer shows up at your site and everything happens for them. I think that would be very helpful.
Would you say that there's been any interest for you to add video or audio content to either your VC site or your university?
Yes, our university for our online product is going to require a lot of video. In fact, we have shot hours, years, days and years of video here at the university because we have some really interesting speakers that come, and we want to make sure that those moments are captured, and then those moments will then become a part of the online university. And so video turns out to be very important there because I got Elon Musk to come speak to our group, and we opened a school. We opened our school while he was launching the Tesla S car, and that was a moment that will never be repeated at the school. We might get Elon back, but we'll never have that moment again. And so for our online people, I think allowing them to experience that in at least in video form, I think would be a terrific thing. Are there any unique business objectives that you felt important in building your site? Yes. For the school, I want the site to look and feel as much like being at the school in real person as it can be. So I want the site to feel as much like a person, like a personal experience, as if these people came to our school. How much manpower did I need? Interestingly, you don't need as much manpower to get your job done as you think. I have done a lot of things myself. For the first 2 years of my venture capital business, I did it alone. And then I brought in an assistant, and she stayed with me, and that was another 5 years. And so for the first 7 years, we operated Draper Associates, which became Draper Fisher Jurvetson, with 2 people. After that, we added people as we went, but it turned out that people were very helpful because I needed partners, and because at some point I couldn't do it all myself. But on the other hand, with new people comes new problems, and so I would suggest in all cases keep the number of people in your startup to a minimum. At this school, we really have, we're operating an entire business school, and we really only have 3 people at the top that administer it, and then there are a whole bunch of other people that come in and go out. We have about 70 speakers. And, okay, let's see. Has my business ever considered going into ECommerce, or do you already that division set up with your business? If you already have that division, what is your success rate? Okay, so this is mobile commerce, and no, we really haven't done anything with mobile commerce. Many of the companies we invested in are mobile commerce companies, and I would encourage anybody who has a website to also have a site for mobile. I don't think you can do one without the other anymore. I think you actually have to have them come. You need both, and you need them to communicate with each other. What are you doing in terms of security to protect your company as well as your customers? Interestingly, we do have security issues here at the university. A student lost a computer, and we started to work very closely with the police, and they have a very short time response, and so that was like personal security. If you're thinking about security like breaking into the e-commerce site, and somebody from Ukraine or Brazil somehow figuring out how to break your code and steal from you, that's a much more complicated problem, and fraud detection is an ongoing battle for all e-commerce sites, and you should be aware of that. And that part of your business could be something that you buy from somebody else.
How do you know whether the service you're getting is even a valid price structure? Like if you're basically doing $1 million worth of business, and you're trying to protect maybe 10% of it is fraud, I mean, what kind of prices are you having to pay for that kind of service? Right.
Okay, well, yes, if you have a big fraud problem, you will have to raise your prices so that you can make money, because the fraud problem could cost you a lot of money. There's an interesting statistic that when Costco had people pay to be members of Costco up front, they eliminated all the theft. They have very little theft at Costco, because thieves don't want to pay money for things. They're stealing things. And so where Walmart still has what's called shrinkage, which basically means people have stolen things or broken things, Costco has very little shrinkage, because people have paid the $50 to join, and the people who pay the $50 are generally honest, because they're willing to pay for the service. Let's see. What are your payment methods currently used? Oh, interesting. Another great question. Our school has just become the first school ever to accept Bitcoin for our tuition. And we're very excited about that, and we've got a guy who just paid it. In fact, this is hot off the press. We've just announced it, and that is a currency that I have a lot of confidence in. In fact, I have more confidence in Bitcoin than I do in a lot of government-backed currencies. And it's appreciating in value, and I looked at it and I thought that's kind of an interesting opportunity. We do something else too. If you can't pay the full tuition up front, we'll do a layaway plan with you. Or we say that we'll take 2% of your income for the next 10 years. So there are a lot of ways for people to pay for tuition at Draper University.
Are there qualifiers?
It's probably not as much an appropriate question for venture capital. That's a little bit different, how payments work. Yeah, there are qualifiers. We have a tough admissions policy. It's hard to get in. But if you get in, there are a lot of ways to pay for it. Who is your target population? What method did you use to determine a suitable target population? I'm going to answer that with regards to Draper University of Heroes. Our target population is people 18 to 28 who have a little bit of a spark, and maybe they were straight A students and they have this great idea, and maybe they weren't, but they have this other thing. They've got this creative side, or they've got this very ambitious side, or there's something to them that has this special entrepreneurial thing. We kind of look for that in the applications process as much as we do how high your grades are or where you go to school. And our target population is any of those people all over the world. 18 to 28 from all over the world, those are the people we go after, entrepreneurs.
You have four.
And it's a similar target population to the target population we have in the venture capital business. We are looking for those extraordinary individuals who are going to change the way we all live and operate.
What's a far commute for someone to come here so far?
Oh, well, we have 2 people from Egypt and 3 from Estonia in the current class. We've got 14 different countries represented.
How'd they learn about it?
All over. They learned about Draper University from a whole bunch of different places. Some through a Bloomberg article, and some through friends of friends, or we did a pilot program, and the people who were in the pilot program loved it so much that they told their friends about it. That's our favorite marketing tool. You get a very satisfied customer, and then that satisfied customer passes the word on to all of their other friends, and then you get a lot more. In fact, we've had a lot of, like, the brother went to the pilot, and then the sister goes to the first session, and then now their other brother wants to go. So that kind of thing is happening too. What are the greatest? What are your marketing strategies? Have they changed since the business first opened? Interestingly, in the venture capital business, I was the first venture capitalist to think in terms of marketing at all. They were a very small little club, and people engineers might have known how to reach them, and they kind of knocked on each other's doors to try to find each other. And then I realized that there are great ways to market, and so I started doing that. I was pretty effective at it. It helped me raise money, and it helped me find entrepreneurs, and it helped the entrepreneurs I found become bigger and better companies because we were well marketed. The school, we are marketing by word of mouth. We are marketing by some advertising, and a lot of PR, and that's what we're doing so far. The online school will probably have another piece of it, probably SEO, marketing. There probably can be other types of marketing to get the word out online.
Is there a mascot?
Actually, we got a song and a credo and
Superhero mascot?
yeah. Well, we are. This is Draper University of Heroes, and the superhero theme is throughout the whole place. I say people enter Draper University as ordinary good citizens, and they leave as superheroes, and with everything good and bad that goes with that. So, I mean, the idea that they, whereas a normal person will try to avoid a fire, they will be the ones that go into the fire to pull the people out. So it's just a slightly more dangerous way of living, but much more fun. What are the greatest challenges you faced in your specific market? Which ones are specific to your company, and which apply to the entire market sector? Most of the problems and challenges that I have faced have been people-oriented. They have been less market-oriented. The venture capital business, there is a market for venture capital. The education business, there is a market for education. We just want to be the best at both of those. We want to be the best venture capitalists and the best education system. And in order to do that, we really need just extraordinary, highly motivated, creative, driven people. And those are the people I like to work with, and those are the people that get a lot done. And I think those are there's nothing special about that. Just get really good people around you. How is the company developed differently from how you initially envisioned it? I think, talking about the venture capital business here, it became bigger and more interesting and more complicated than I ever imagined it would become. And it's created a very interesting life for me, and I encourage you, whoever you are and whatever you're starting, to really follow that passion wherever it takes you. Push, 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 push. Just keep pushing until you get your dream, your vision to come through. And it'll turn out that you'll never quite reach the vision, because it will keep moving ahead of you. It'll be that carrot that continues to dangle in front of you. But every once in a while, just make sure you appreciate the path you've taken. It's so much fun. And then, any advice to those who are considering starting e-commerce companies? If e-commerce is your thing, then just go after it. But if you're going to start an e-commerce company, what you're probably doing is selling something. Make sure you just love that thing that you're selling, and make sure that you. The other part of it is make sure that the customer really loves what you're giving them. Don't keep trying to push something on somebody who doesn't really want it. You have to keep changing your business. You keep moving it, and eliminate all friction from the user experience. Make it so easy for them that they just have to, that they just feel like it's like coming home. You want your e-commerce site to be the place that they look at that is sort of coming home. So go get them, Deanza. Thanks so much. I appreciate your listening. I hope this was interesting. And
name just as you go.
And wake up.
Name some of your leader e-commerce sites that you have worked with.
Boy, we did one of the first ones. The first sports e-commerce site was what was it called? Fog Dog, and that turned out to be pretty interesting. And then depending on your definition of e-commerce, we funded Baidu, which was the Google for China. And I guess you could say either Google is not e-commerce or it is the biggest e-commerce company in the world, and Baidu is the biggest e-commerce company in China. We funded Skype, and Skype turned out to be a communications company that then evolved into e-commerce. They have a lot of e-commerce there. All of those are interesting examples for you because what they did was they had a new business approach. They had new models. And then e-commerce was an outgrowth of it. It was a way that you could make money once you had that audience. Your biggest challenge, by far, in e-commerce is how do you reach your audience? How do you get enough people to look at your site so that you can buy stuff?
Oh, in passing, is e-commerce applied to Tesla?
Tesla was so clever. This is another situation where the business model was so good. We funded Tesla, and everybody thought it was crazy to do a car company. I mean, there was the DeLorean and all those other. There's a graveyard of all these failed startup car companies. Tesla was different. They figured out an e-commerce model, and here's what it was. You no longer need the auto dealer. They sell them all through the website, and you pay in advance. So the model was perfect. They got paid. In fact, they got paid 3/4 of the money because there was such a long line to get a Tesla. They got paid 3/4 of the money before the car got delivered. So this helped them cash flow their business. They were able to go out, get all this cash before they even were able to ship a single car. And so, I mean, they took big advantage of the e-commerce world in order to build one of the which is now truly the greatest car on the earth. I've driven, and I drove in the Roadster, which is really like as fast as they come. But the S car is the best car on the road. In fact, I'll never go back to gas. It's cheap to operate. It handles just like a dream, and you sort of feel like you're a college when you're driving. You sort of feel like you're a college football player on a grade school field. Anyway, thank you very much, Dianza. Go get 'em.